We have a huge amount of news to cover tonight, so let me dig into it. Tesla made changes in the FSD, the information that's provided about FSD, and that suggested major changes coming in the financial reporting, and maybe FSD is getting close. Anyway, it's a super slow week for financial news as we start the worst month of the year for stocks, but many are predicting that this September will be an exception to that rule, and others, well, they think that the end is near. Anyway, who knows? Too many pundits with too many opinions. Well, all the amazing news coming out of China this past weekend will be a major part of what we want to talk about tonight. And, so much good news. Maybe Tesla will get a nice bump in the morning, except guess what? Elon is being controversial again. This is Randy Kirk. If you like this content on Sunday night, this is pretty much the most popular show of the week. If you like this kind of content, hit like so that I know that I'm doing it right. Hit subscribe and notify. You want to be sure to be there tomorrow morning at 7:10 Pacific time to hear what is happening at the beginning of the market. And we'll, of course, have multiple really, really cool shows all week long. You can count on that. All right. Where to begin? Oh my goodness. All right. I would be remiss. This is not normally what I'm reporting on, but I think I have to report on this. If I don't talk about the post storm, it's not a Twitter storm anymore, right? It's a post storm, an X storm. What kind of a storm is it? Anyway, big. Elon's been all over X all day today with all kinds of fun things. We'll talk about a couple of those. But as the day has come to the conclusion he's been most interested in, and I can see why, this entire thing with the ADL. So let me begin by saying I hate anti-Semites. I don't hate many people. I guess I hate people that are truly racist. I hate anti-Semites. I hate haters. I grew up in an almost entirely Jewish community. I grew up in University City, Missouri, which at the time was almost entirely Jewish. I feel that I'm somewhat socialized Jewish. I've studied so much about Israel. I've been to Israel. Anyway, that's a story for another day. All I can tell you is I hate anti-Semites. I think Elon feels exactly the same way. He made a very clear statement with regard to his feelings about anti-Semitism. That has nothing to do with the ADL because it's been a very, very long time before they cared very much about anti-Semitism. Well, okay, that's unfair. They care about anti-Semitism, but they've just become another outlet for progressivism. Half of what they're talking about, half the stuff they're fighting, half the stuff that they're dealing with and spending money on has nothing to do with anti-Semitism and just has to do with other progressive issues that they believe in. So I am all for Elon. Well, let's put it this way. Elon is about ready to take down the ADL or take a real shot at taking them down because they send X and they used to send Twitter, letters, who knows, phone calls, emails, I don't know. They correspond with this social media outlet, putting pressure on them to take down posts and take down posters. And this has continued into the X era. And Elon claims that the reason why their revenues are down by such a large amount is because a lot of advertisers hear from the ADL who says until Elon Musk and X agree to do X, Y, Z, A, B, C, you shouldn't advertise with them. So that's why Elon says he's on the verge and probably will sue them. Well, so now that's become a big deal, and that probably is going to hurt X, and it may have some spillover effect onto Tesla. Why is that? Well, that is because the progressive media will take this as Elon being anti-Semitic, being anti-ADL, et cetera, et cetera. Now, these same progressives are anti-Israel, so go figure. But anyway, I don't know. I don't want to go on and on about this. All I want to say is it's probably going to have an effect on Tesla. It might. We should have an update tomorrow. Tomorrow should be an update for Tesla. You'll hear all the good news. It should be an up day, but this might cause it to be a down day or to be a flat day when it should have been an up day, and it might affect it into the coming weeks. But I'm 100% behind this. I think the ADL is out of control. I'm sure they're controlling, if they're trying to control Elon Musk and X, they're definitely already controlling Facebook and all the rest of them. Okay. There's no doubt in my mind, LinkedIn, et cetera, they're being controlled by the ADL at this point, and that's just not okay. It's just not okay. It's not okay for any of these organizations. Southern Poverty Law Center, same thing. I wouldn't care. It could be a right-wing organization. I wouldn't want them to be calling and tweeting, or not calling and emailing, et cetera, to Elon or Facebook or any of the rest of them and saying, if you don't comply with our wishes with regard to these posts or these posters, then we're going to go and we're going to start calling up your advertisers and telling them to stop advertising. Not for, I don't care who it is. All right, there you go. No, oh, by the way, Elon's also threatening a data dump that would include the emails and the letters or whatever else he's getting from the ADL, pointing out who it is that ADL is going after and that these threats are real. He's basically said he's going to do it. He says it might take until next week, a week from now, because he's short-staffed this week. Interesting as heck. All right, back to the main story. So putting aside the Osborne effect that I talked about the last couple of days with regard to China having the new Model 3 Highland, but the United States not having it, and even maybe on another level, it could affect Y sales. Putting all that aside, the only negative thing from this weekend was that was the Osborne idea. Everything else about China, everything about Tesla was really positive. I'll get back to Highland in a minute, but let me talk about this first that came out of Teslarati. The Tesla China unit sales were for the entire month of August were posted the other day from the Chinese resources. And there was an increase of basically 31% in August at over 84,000 units sold compared, and that's a 30% increase, 31% increase compared to the previous month when they sold 64,285 units. Okay, so from 65,000, that's rounding up rather than now. Okay, 64,000 up to 84,000. That's a pretty good increase. Now, between January and August of this year, Tesla China sold 624,980, let's call it 625,000 units. That would be an average. This is now me speaking, not them. This would be an average of 78,000 or annualized 937,000. It's not too hard to imagine that a jump in production and sales over the next 4 months as a result of the Model Y supposedly there's been some changes in upgrading the lines in China, and also now the Model 3 Highland update. It's not hard to imagine that Shanghai could now get up to close to 1 million units even this year by doing well these last 4 months, and that they should be well over 1 million in 2024, maybe even getting close to the number I've thought they should have been last year and this year, around 1.1 million. And I don't know, depending on how strong the change, how important these changes are in terms of throughput on the Model 3 and maybe an upcoming Model Y refresh, it could be even higher than the 1.1, according to other folks, not just me, like Brian White has said. Okay. Meanwhile, Model Y sales in China have created now have a longer wait time, increasing to 2 to 8 weeks for the rear wheel drive and performance models, and 6 to 8 weeks for the long range. So that's really good news. Finally, the EV makers in China all report surging sales. So right across the board, they're all showing really good sales. And there's also other evidence coming out of China that maybe things are not as bad as they were a week ago. Really, a week ago, China was on their deathbed. We might as well, they were in the ICU, and, everybody's getting ready to say final rites. And now all of a sudden, well, no, they've sold a lot of cars and maybe they're doing up better than we thought. I don't know. I'm not there. I can't help you. All right. So also breaking. This is from Sawyer Merritt. He says he was the one that noticed this. On the Tesla information with regard to FSD, it no longer lists auto steer on city streets as a coming soon feature. It has been listed as a coming soon for the past 4+ years. Now, Sawyer says this might seem like a small change, but it's a big one. And this indicates that Tesla is getting very confident in FSD's capability. And Elon Musk answered, yep, or yup. I think he says yup, not yep. All right. So Jeff Lutz says that this might actually mean that 300,000 can come off the reserve on FSD in the third quarter, because Tesla doesn't take 100% of the profit on their profit and loss, because it's not 100% useful. So they've been taking chunks as FSD gets closer and closer to fully operational. They've been taking chunks, and this could possibly make about 300 million available right now in the third quarter. Now, lost in all the noise over the weekend, I know I mentioned this the other day, but I'm going to mention it again. They had the groundbreaking for the mega factory in Shanghai. This is an $18 billion revenue generator within about 2 years. Not maybe 18 billion, gonna be 18 billion within 2 years. It's slated to open in 9 months. It will have the same 10,000 megapack capacity as Lathrop. That's $18 billion. That's about 20%, close to 20% of Tesla's revenues this year. I mean, this is, Lathrop is not fully ramped yet. It's going to be doing 18 billion, somewhere around $18 billion over there. And these guys are going to do about 18 billion, and none of that is really showing up yet. So put those two together, you're talking about something like a 30% bump in Tesla's revenues and profits just from those two little factories. Nobody gets that. I get it. You probably get it. The street doesn't get it. It's crazy. All right. So, I've just fallen in love with Jeremy Siegel. Because why? Because he agrees with me. Anyway, Jeremy Siegel, also known as the Wizard of Wharton School of Business School, notes that forecasts for S&P 500 profits next year have climbed over the last month. Okay, nobody's saying that. I haven't seen a headline on that yet. That's really interesting. That was one of the main things that were causing people to think maybe we're still going into a recession, was that profits would be going down among the major companies in the country. Well, maybe not. People are now increasing their estimates. So that was a nice piece of good news. Okay, what's coming up this week in terms of reporting and whatnot? On Tuesday, we have factory orders. They were up 2.3% last month. That did not seem correct. Now the street is estimating they'll be down 2.3%. Since that'd be a wash for the 2 months, I think the market won't care very much. But that comes tomorrow, but after my program, so I can't report on it until Wednesday morning. But anyway, I think this will be a nothing burger unless it might be up or it might be zero. So if it beats on this, that could be looked at as another. I think the market would like to see some evidence of strength going forward, like that report from Jeremy Siegel just a second ago. All right, then on Wednesday, we have a bunch of stuff that's probably not going to matter. You've got the U.S. trade deficit predicted to be about a $68 billion negative. Yeah, no surprise. You've got the S&P final U.S. services PMI coming out. That was up a little bit last month. No prediction from the street on that this week. Purchasing Manager Index for services. I think the Fed would like to see that slip a little bit. I think that's what the Fed would like. I don't think the street would mind if services slipped a little bit, not a lot, but a little bit. And then we got the Fed Beige Book coming out on Wednesday as well, in the afternoon though, 2:00 Eastern time. So I can't report on that until Thursday morning. And the Fed Beige Book, nothing said about that in terms of what anybody's expecting. Then, of course, on Thursday every week, we have the initial jobless claims. Those are expected to be about the same as last week, around 230,000. And then we've got the U.S. productivity. This is my big one. Okay. Now, this is a quarterly report. So what's being reported now is any revision on what was reported last month. And the street is expecting this to be revised down. Nobody wants that. The Fed doesn't want that. The street doesn't want that. Nobody wants that to be revised down. So I'm hoping that it's not revised down, but I have no crystal ball that says whether it will be 3.4 or 3.9 or whatever. I'd like to see it jump up, not go down. All right. And then you have also on Thursday, the unit labor costs, and this is also a revision. This is expected to go up. You want that to go down. So the original statement on this was 1.6% up. Now they're saying that'll be revised. The street thinks it'll be revised up to 1.9. That would, of course, be something that would be working in opposition to productivity. So if the productivity goes down comparatively, then you would expect unit labor costs to go up because they offset one another. Okay. Now on Thursday, you have the second or third most hated thing of all. You've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of the Atlanta Fed presidents. I guess they're all presidents. Philadelphia Fed president, Chicago Fed, etc. All these presidents, they're all going to speak on Thursday. I'm hoping that they've gotten together and said, we have to soften the tone. We'll see. We'll see. On Friday, you got wholesale inventories, but it'll be reporting late. So I'll report on that Friday night. And those are expected to go down again. We would like to see wholesale inventories go down because that would say it was time. The manufacturers will be getting purchase orders soon. Then on Friday, the one president that didn't speak on Thursday, she'll speak on Friday, Mary Daly. She's usually one of the most hawkish. So we'll see what she has to say. And then consumer credit is also reported in that afternoon. That's expected to be up. I don't think there's a chance in the world it won't be up based on what I'm hearing. All right. So as we said, China appears to be doing better than expected. This, of course, is affecting oil prices. We'll talk about that in a second. I'll come back around to oil prices in a second. Trueflation is showing a nice dip back to 2.66, down from 2.79. So, but I don't think that's sustainable if oil continues up, although the dip is going to come from housing. Expect residential paid for, owned homes, that those numbers are going to start coming down as we get into the fall. Some evidence that they're already coming down, maybe a little earlier than normal. So look for that to come down, but oil is going up. One issue that could be impacting political thinking going into the political season and also consumer confidence. When I looked over all of the details of the Trueflation, the most obvious items are still having the highest inflation, the things that people notice. Gas at the pump is going to be showing up. It's not showing up quite yet, but it is going to be showing up. Household items still up around 4 or 5%. Alcohol and tobacco still up about 4 or 5%. Services and travel, all those are still up. So these are things that people do see more than they see things like rents, which you don't see your rent going up unless your 3-year lease is up and you have to renegotiate. So the market is starting out really mixed. Last time I looked, I haven't looked recently. I'm just going to go with the fact that NASDAQ was up a little bit. Dow was down some. S&P was down just a tiny bit. No real direction. But oil continuing up. Bonds continuing up. I was not expecting that. Bonds might be moving up because oil is moving up and because China. So oil, Saudi Arabia was not expecting China to be doing well. Part of the reason they cut their numbers is because they were expecting China to do poorly. Now that China seems to be doing a little better and autos are selling in China, maybe Saudi Arabia will lighten up a little bit and start pumping a little more oil. That would be good. We could all hope for that. But the bonds are moving back towards 2.2, almost to 2.2 in the pre-market. The 2-year and the 2-month are also up. That's the only thing I can think of that's happening that would cause bonds to go up would be oil prices going up. Other than that, I got nothing for you. But maybe tomorrow morning I'll have more information and I'll share that, of course. So with little news in the pipeline, with the Fed speakers all lined up, it's really hard call for direction so far this week. Again, maybe tomorrow morning I'll have more idea of a direction. The CPI is still a week away. That's a week from Wednesday. PPI on Thursday. The market is probably very focused on the November Fed decision, and also whether the economy is going to continue to roll along at least as well as it is now into 2024. That's where a lot of people now are focused, is first quarter of 2024. Now, I'm a crazy, you're probably going to think I'm nuts, but I spent about a half an hour going through all the commodities. And I'm going to just go through them. It's a 3-minute drill. I'm going to go through these commodities. You might find it interesting. You might find it boring as heck. You might find it useful. You might tell me, Randy, would you please do this every week? I'd rather do it like once a month. Before I do that, let me just remind you, if you haven't bought your Cybertruck bottle opener yet, $25. Please hit up my PayPal. It'll be down in the information below. You want one. Your friends want one. Your employees want one. Okay, that's all I got on that. All right. Or you can use it as a way to get your be part of Patreon. At the $10 level, you get one for free. Okay, so here I go. Here's the 3-minute drill. All right. Oats are way up, but wheat and corn are way down. And rough rice is up recently, but down overall. Generally speaking, you add and soybeans are kind of even. Some are down, like you got meal that's down, futures are. So all of this tells me that when it comes to like the commodity foodstuffs, what do you want to say, day in and day out foodstuffs, these are generally kind of down, and no real evidence except for oats that there might be a problem coming up. It looks like those are under control. Now then you get into cocoa and sugar, those are like this. Those are going way, way up. And I don't have any, and also orange juice, way up, all three. So all the sweet stuff is all way, way up. Don't know why, can't explain it. I'm just telling you the facts here. This is the 3-minute drill. All right, then you've got coffee. So the bitters are way down, way down. I mean, way down. Okay, so how all that balances out, I don't know, but we know that sugar's in everything. We know that cocoa is my primary intake. So, and coffee, I don't drink. So I don't know, I'm on the wrong side of this one. All right, then we get into the only other one in kind of that category, the things you grow. Cotton is way down, but just starting up again. So, but I wouldn't say that clothing is in any danger of being affected. Feed. So when we get into the cattle and meat stuff, feed almost, except for cattle. So beef on the hoof, that kind of stuff, it's way up. But hogs are down. So depends on whether you like pork or beef. All right, lumber is down some. Now we get into the metals. Silver up but steady in a range. Zinc very strongly down, starting to trend up just a tad. Aluminum down from earlier highs, but starting to trend up just a little bit, but equal to a year ago. Platinum moderately up, but stuck in a range. Palladium way down, and copper up, but trading in a range for the last 9 months. None of that tells me that there's any dramatic danger of commodities becoming a problem, but it also doesn't show me that commodities are continuing to trend down. Now we get to heating oil, obviously rising. We're going into the heating oil season, and we have oil going up. Gasoline is even over the 6 months, but you know what's happening year over year. It's up big. Natural gas trending up slightly, but way down from its highs. Way down from its highs, and only trending up a teeny tiny bit. Oil has broken out of its range. No lid really until 120 if the Saudis decide to keep cutting. Now, the other side, the only thing that could keep the Saudis in control, who feel like they are in control right now, they and the Russians are controlling the price of oil right now. The thing that could solve that is what we call the Hungry Five: Syria, Iraq, Iran, Venezuela, and I forget the fifth one. Anyway, those Hungry Five all say they're going to be increasing. Canada and the United States say they're going to be increasing. So that could make the trend go in the other direction, even with Saudi not pumping. All right, was that good? Was that 3 minutes? Did that help you at all? Let me know in the comments below whether that was useful, helpful. that I took the time to do that, and then hit like, subscribe, notify. You know you want to be there at 7:10 in the morning tomorrow. And then buy yourself a Cybertruck. You know you want a Cybertruck. Well, you can have this one until yours gets there. All right. That's all I got for you. It's been great talking to you.